Hey, what up, guys? Metro Taku Gamer here. I am in Seattle, and I am game hunting today. But I'm not just doing regular game hunting. I am going to be looking for certain games off of my wish list. But I am doing all of this on a bit of a budget. Yes, I am challenging myself to see if I can find some really good games here at Pink Gorilla. There's the Mario right outside the U District store, which is where I'm starting this off. So if you guys like game hunting, looking for hidden gems and retro game collecting and all that, please don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And let's check out Pink Gorilla. So yeah, it's incredibly busy. I wasn't really expecting it to be that busy while I was here at Pink Gorilla. I'm looking at some of the import games. Saw like Kingdom Hearts for $8. They do have a nice selection of imported games. Now, the first game I found for this challenge, Dirge of Cerberus Final Fantasy VII. I know it's like $30. I did have my Pink Gorilla beanie, which gave me like a 10% discount, so I paid like less than 30. But they also had this Master of the Monster Lair on DS. I was kind of tempted to get that. There was a couple other 3DS games, and now that I'm seeing this, I saw that they had an Epic Mickey on 3DS, which that would have been really cool to have. I didn't even see that they had Bravely Second End Layer. But they have a really nice selection of games. Switch, 3DS, DS, Xbox. Now, I'm not collecting Xbox right now, but I would love to get my hands on an Xbox console so I could start collecting like the OG Xbox and the 360, because there's a lot of games there. The Blaze Blue games there, I absolutely love Blaze Blue, one of my favorite fighting game series. Would have gotten those as well. There's actually some really great cheap games that you just still find when going to out game hunting. Now, Pink Gorilla has a really great selection. This is their rare case where they have a lot of the more higher end and super uncommon games. They have like a small GameCube section, their Wii, their Nintendo like rare case, and some Switch games and their handhelds and the consoles. I always love going to the University District store first when I come down and do some game hunting in Seattle, because that's where some of the cooler stuff is at. Also, I did check out Al's Music Games, which you're seeing right here. They had the Epic Mickey, they had Guilty Gear Strive, they had the Ragnarok Odyssey Ace, which was right around in my budget. I could have picked that up for the Vita, but I'm not really looking for any like box sets, like special editions, launch editions, stuff like that come with like some extra stuff right now, even though that Ragnarok Odyssey Ace was like around $30. Now here, I did find one Vita game for this challenge that I will definitely be showing off at the end when I show off all of my recent pickups. And it was really nice checking out Al's. They still had a crap ton of Vita games that they got in last year from this like really huge trade. It is mind-blowing how many Vita games that they have. Yeah, so I'm just showing off like what they have in their glass cases, which is like the first things that you see when you walk into the store, which is right up the road from Pink Gorilla. Also, little fun, I guess, like a little side note, there is a lot of places to eat in this part of Seattle. They also just opened up the Raising Cane's, which I really wanted to go and check that out, but the line was like 3 hours long. I was like, yeah, no way. But Al's Music Games, definitely come here if you want to get a little dose of nostalgia. They don't just sell video games, they sell music, they sell DVDs, they sell like figures, they sell vinyl records, video games and video game accessories, consoles. I checked out a lot of the different vinyls that they had. They have a bunch of different video game soundtracks, official and unofficial vinyls. They also have like some movie stuff. Saw some really cool Metal Gear Solid and Final Fantasy stuff while I was down there. And one of these days I would love to get my hands on a record player so I can get some vinyl records. Ooh, there's One Step from Eden, Ori games. There was some Pokemon stuff, some JRPG soundtracks, some indie game soundtracks, like this vinyl record for things called Pizza Town. There was some Resident Evil soundtracks. There was the Persona 3 episode Idas vinyl soundtrack. Ooh, man. I have a friend that probably would have really loved that. Not sure if he has it. Would have to ask him. But there was also some Sonic the Hedgehog stuff. So if you really like vinyl records, definitely come and check out Owl's Music and Games. I highly recommend this place. Yeah, so I also did go across the street to their sister location, which is Hi-Fi Lo-Fi. I didn't find any games. They do sell games there, and the ones that I want were going to be way out of my budget, but I did go and check out their anime selection, and I was able to find a anime complete on DVD, which was Sands of Destruction, which is an anime based off of a DS JRPG that I've been wanting to check out. And you'll see more about that in my pickups. I also did find a One Piece figure that I've been looking for. They have a nice selection of used anime figures. Back in, I want to say December, or well, sometime last year, I was able to find a Hatsune Miku figure that I really wanted for a really good price. They also have a bunch of old VHS. It is just absolutely crazy with the selection of nostalgia that they have here at Hi-Fi Lo-Fi. Unfortunately, there's not really a whole lot of stores like this up towards where I live, which is north of Seattle. So it's always a blast coming down to Seattle and checking out this store. It's one of my all-time favorites. Okay, guys, so I am standing outside of Hi-Fi Lo-Fi, really great anime, like video games store, like just very nerdy store. I love shopping here. I just found an anime and a One Piece figure that I've been looking for. Not really part of this challenge. To go a little bit more into it, so I gave myself a budget of $100 to find some games off of my wish list, some cheap ones, anything 25 and under. I already found a couple games. I will show those at the end. So let's head to our next destination. Here we are at my next location, Pink Gorilla in the International District. And as you can see, they have a really cool front display. back side of their rare case. Really cool stuff here. Let's go in and see what they got. And I went and checked out another one of Pink Gorilla's locations. I was going to go and check out all three of them, but I decided to just skip Capitol Hill for now. I'll probably go to Capitol Hill another time, but here I was able to find like the original Devil May Cry. There's a bunch of other different games I almost considered for this challenge, but I ended up picking up a couple games here, one for the PlayStation 4 and one for the PlayStation 2 that you will see in the pickups. So for now, just relax and enjoy me checking out the rest of what they have here at the International District store for Pink Gorilla. So I'm back from Seattle. It was a successful challenge. I managed to hit the budget of $100 and I found 5 games. These are the 5 games that I found as part of that challenge. So starting off, Rayman Legends. I found this at Al's Music and Games. They also had Rayman Origins, but I've seen Rayman Origins multiple times on so many other different consoles, but Vita specifically, I have seen it multiple times, but this was one of the very few times that I've actually seen Rayman Legends on the Vita, so had to pick that up. Huge fan of the Rayman games, and surprisingly, I didn't really have one physically in my game collection. Now, at Pink Gorilla, I did find in the U District Dirge of Cerberus Final Fantasy VII. This ended up being the more pricier game of the 5 that I found. And unfortunately, it is missing the manual. But I really do like this game. This is one of my favorites in the Final Fantasy series, and yes, that is a bit of a hot take. I will die defending Dirge of Cerberus being a good game. Now, the story is bland, but what really made me fall in love with this was the third-person action RPG style shooting, combat, gameplay, however you want to describe it. It was just absolutely fantastic, in my opinion. Now, I did take a little bit of a detour back, and I didn't show this completely on camera, but also from the U District Pink Gorilla, I picked up my first ever mystery dungeon game. This is Shiren the Wanderer, the Tower of Fortune, and the Dice of Fate. And then at the other Pink Gorilla store that I went to, which was in the International District, I wanted to go to Capitol Hill and see if they had anything cool, but due to the weather and some other personal issues that I was dealing with at that time, and also some time constraints, I couldn't really make it to Capitol Hill. So hopefully next time I go down there, I could do some game hunting. But I did find Nier Automata. the Day 1 edition, and the original Devil May Cry. Now, most of these games that I found, I have had in my collection before. The only two that I've never really had before is Sheeran the Wanderer, which is completely brand new to me, and then I had played Rayman Legends on the Switch, but this is my first time owning the Vita version. And those are all the games that I found while I was game hunting in Seattle, but those aren't the only pickups that I want to share with you guys. I have plenty more that I got for my birthday, and there is one game that is coming that I was able to get off of eBay. One of my friends gifted me an eBay gift card, so I was able to get Disgaea 3 for the PlayStation Vita, a game that I had owned before, but it was part of my collection that I ended up having to sell. So, starting off with some DS games. I do have a few loose games here. Hopefully you can see that. Got Child of Mana, Sands of Destruction, as well as Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days, and a CIB copy of The World Ends With You. Now, I picked up The World Ends With You loose from Next Level Games, and then a good friend of mine who works there found the case and manual and gifted that to me for my birthday, and I technically used trade credit to get this, so I essentially got myself a free copy of The World Ends With You on the DS. Super happy to have that, and the Children of Mana for the DS, this was also a birthday gift. Now, speaking of Sands of Destruction, at Hi-Fi Lo-Fi, I did find the complete anime for Sands of Destruction on DVD, so I was super happy to have that. And then, also from Next Level, on my birthday, I was gifted Titanfall 2 from another friend that works there. Super happy to have that. I did trade in a bunch of games that I just didn't really care for, or that I knew there was like a better version out there. So I ended up getting Arteneldo 2, which was my old copy that I ended up selling last year. I finally got it back in my collection, and I'm super happy. This is one of my favorite turn-based RPGs of all time. I also got Beautiful Joe 2 for my birthday, loose. And then, lastly, a few more Vita games. Here, got Arno Surge Plus. This was gifted to me for my birthday from my sister. And then, a good friend of mine, shout out to a fellow YouTuber and close personal friend of mine, Brandon Vanal. Please check out his channel if you can, if you're into like record reviews, book reviews, video game stuff, movie stuff. He's a variety channel, unlike mine, which is more into retro and modern JRPGs and other video games. And then lastly, got Arcana Heart 3 Love Mats. Now, I did show this off in my previous video talking about fighting games, so just going to briefly show this again here. And there is one other thing that I don't want to forget. And I picked this up. This is Yamato from One Piece. I got her from Hi-Fi Lo-Fi. And she is just absolutely amazing. She is one of my favorite characters in all of One Piece. Super happy to have her. This was actually a figure I've been looking to get for quite some time, and I was able to find this for like half the price of what it goes for brand new. So huge shout out to Hi-Fi Lo-Fi for hooking me up there. They are an amazing store. They're kind of like retro games meets anime store with like used figures and all that. They're the sister location to Owl's Music and Games. So if you're ever in the U District in Seattle, please check them out. And that's going to be it for all of my birthday pickups. And that is also it for this episode of the Retro Rebuild. I hope you guys really enjoyed this. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. I'm Mecha Otaku Gamer, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.